Kidman has officially filed for divorce.
One of Hollywood's longest-standing couples meticulously carving up their assets and sharing custody of their children.
I'm just happy to have found my great love. I mean, it's that simple.
And think that if you weren't at that event, maybe you don't have the same friendship group, it may never have happened.
Whoa.
Never know.
You never know.
It's fate, it's the universe.
Anyway,
Epic, romantic drama.
now tell them about the movie.
A Keith Urban divorce? Nicole Kidman's fairy tale just shattered. And the truth isn't what fans thought. Forget those polished Hollywood statements, because Urban just spilled what really went down, and it's way crazier than anyone imagined. The truth raises one burning question. Was their love ever real, or has Nicole been hiding something this whole time? Fans are stunned. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's divorce news hit like a bomb, especially for those who saw them as Hollywood's most picture-perfect couple. But insiders say the cracks were there long before the headlines dropped. Behind the red carpet smiles and perfect Instagram posts, their love story was already falling apart. The couple, who married in 2006 after just one whirlwind year of dating, reportedly started living separate lives months ago. Urban was busy rocking stages on his High and Alive world tour, while Nicole drowned herself in filming Practical Magic 2 with Sandra Bullock. But whispers say Nicole's anger ran much deeper. She allegedly felt Urban stopped supporting her just as her career reignited. Now everyone's wondering, was that glamorous marriage ever real, or just Hollywood's biggest illusion? For years, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were Hollywood's golden couple.
We still wanted to try and make the marriage work. Well, not too long after that, we learned that she had kind of given up on that ever happening and had in fact filed for divorce.
They had it all. Red carpet kisses, hand-holding at premieres, emotional speeches at award shows. To the public, it was the perfect love story. But behind the glam, insiders say it was all smoke and mirrors, a carefully staged act to keep their spotless image alive. The fairy tale, it was crumbling fast. People close to the couple say Nicole and Keith were like strangers under the same roof. They could play the soulmate act for cameras, but once the lights went off, the air turned cold. Friends describe icy silences, awkward dinners, and two people emotionally checked out. Keith locked away in his music, Nicole burying herself in work. Those red carpet kisses? Insiders claim they weren't passion, they were strategy. They knew exactly what fans wanted to see, one insider spilled, and they gave it to them, even when their home life was falling apart. Eventually, the cracks were too big to hide. Nicole started showing up at major events alone. No ring, no smile, no Keith. Meanwhile, Urban toured city after city, rarely mentioning her name on stage. Yet the press kept selling the same illusion of love, even as the truth was screaming beneath the surface. Behind the spotlight, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's marriage stopped looking like love and started looking like business.
Of their 14 and 17-year-old kids, talking about possible child support, alimony, everything like that was already squared away, and they had both signed off on it. So while
everything became about the brand, not the bond. Here's the wild part. Insiders claim both of them played along because the image worked in their favor. Together, they looked like Hollywood's power couple, glamorous, stable, and marketable. The industry loved selling their fairy tale, even when it had already turned into fiction. But eventually, the act became too heavy to carry. When the divorce hit the headlines, the truth had been brewing for months. Whispers say Nicole and Keith were already living separate lives long before the announcement. Publicly, it all looked innocent. Just two stars with busy schedules. Keith touring the world on his High and Alive tour.
are hearing that Keith Urban, at least this is the belief of the people who are in Keith and Nicole's circle, is involved in a relationship with another.
Nicole filming Practical Magic 2 with Sandra Bullock, but sources say that wasn't coincidence. It was strategy. According to insiders, that distance wasn't about work at all. It was about survival. They allegedly agreed to quietly live apart, avoiding constant tension under one roof while keeping up their picture-perfect illusion for fans. Every red carpet, every smile, every interview, all part of the setup before the bomb finally dropped and shattered their perfect love story for good. The clues were right there, hiding in plain sight. Nicole was spotted on set in New York and Boston without her wedding ring, and the gossip blogs went wild. Meanwhile, Keith kept dodging her name during interviews, talking only about his music and his fans. Insiders say his team was even told not to mention Nicole, like the topic was completely off limits. That's when people started connecting the dots. Some Hollywood insiders now believe the couple strategically timed their separation around their projects. Nicole allegedly didn't want personal drama ruining her movie release, while Keith wanted to keep divorce rumors away from his tour sales. Suspiciously, the official split only dropped after both locked in their biggest career moves of the year. And fans are saying that timing is way too perfect to be coincidence. In other words, those busy schedules everyone talked about might have been the first act of a well-rehearsed performance. Every photo op, every public smile, every carefully worded silence, it all feels staged now. What looked like a power couple might have actually been two stars executing a perfectly planned breakup while the world had no clue. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were once the definition of a power couple. On camera, they couldn't stop praising each other, always talking about their unbreakable bond. But insiders say when the cameras turned off, that picture-perfect love vanished fast. Nicole, in the middle of her biggest career comeback ever, was reportedly feeling completely alone. With massive hits like Big Little Lies, 9 Perfect Strangers, and her new Practical Magic sequel, this should have been her victory lap, a time for her husband to stand proudly beside her. But instead, sources claim Keith grew distant, spending nights on his tour bus or jamming with his bandmates instead of showing up for Nicole's milestones.
Something that predated the separation? Is it something that has happened after the separation? That's the big question, and unfortunately,
the man once known for love songs suddenly seemed absent from his own love story. And here's where it gets messy. Whispers say Nicole didn't just feel ignored, she felt undermined. Insiders allege Keith became uneasy watching her star rise higher than ever. As Nicole took over award shows and headlines, Keith reportedly pulled back, creating a chill that fans could feel even through the screen. The more Nicole glowed, the more Keith allegedly faded into the background, leaving Hollywood asking one explosive question. Did jealousy quietly destroy their marriage? Industry whispers claim Nicole Kidman confided in close friends that Keith Urban had checked out emotionally. He stopped asking about her scripts, barely showed interest in her projects, and seemed miles away, even when he was home. But what really got people talking were his long absences on tour, and what he might have been doing when the spotlight wasn't on him. Insiders hint those trips weren't as innocent as they looked. Rumors swirl about late-night parties, private gatherings, and a lifestyle that left Nicole both embarrassed and heartbroken. Friends say she struggled to confront him, afraid of what she might actually find out. And that's when things hit a breaking point. Nicole's inner circle reportedly begged her to stop pretending. They say she was exhausted from faking a fairy tale, smiling through interviews, calling Keith her rock, while secretly carrying the weight of a crumbling marriage. Those years of quiet resentment, buried under red carpet glamour, finally erupted. Many believe this hidden tension, and not just fame or distance, is what truly shattered their marriage. And let's not forget, Keith's personal struggles were no secret. Long before the divorce talk, he openly battled addiction, even checking into rehab just 4 months after marrying Nicole in 2006. Back then, the world called her his savior. But now it looks like even she couldn't save the love that fame destroyed. Nicole Kidman once saved Keith Urban from his darkest days. She was the one who helped him rebuild his life. But nearly 2 decades later, fans are asking, did those demons ever really disappear, or just hide beneath Hollywood's polished shine? While the world saw sold-out shows and glowing lights on Keith's world tour, insiders say something darker was brewing backstage. Rumors claim those long nights weren't always about the music. Whispers of wild after-parties, heavy drinking, and sketchy late-night company have set Hollywood buzzing. Sources say Nicole was left blindsided as Keith's behavior started to mirror old patterns, the very ones she thought he'd beaten years ago. The man she once saved was slipping back into chaos, and she could see it happening in real time. For someone like Nicole, known for her control, discipline, and sharp professionalism, this was unbearable. Insiders say she confronted him head-on, demanding answers about the late nights, the disappearances, the rumors. But Keith reportedly brushed it all off, saying, "It's just part of the touring life." Still, the whispers didn't fade. Hollywood insiders claim Nicole grew increasingly anxious about the people Keith surrounded himself with. Party types, hangers-on, and old faces from darker times. The cracks in their marriage were widening fast, and everyone close to them could feel the storm coming. The rumors kept piling up. Talk of young bandmates, party circuits, and wild late nights that looked way too tempting. There's no solid proof, but the sheer amount of whispers about Keith falling back into his old ways was enough to drive a wedge straight through their marriage. Insiders say Nicole saw the writing on the wall, and instead of confronting every rumor, she poured herself into work. It wasn't just ambition, it was escape. By burying herself in scripts and sets, Nicole could distance herself from Keith's chaos and quietly prepare for life after him. So now the big question, did Keith's old demons really come back to wreck the marriage, or did the endless gossip and suspicion make it impossible for Nicole to stay? Either way, the shadows of his past clearly never stopped haunting their future. But here's another explosive twist. Some say their downfall wasn't just about addiction or distance. It was competition. In Hollywood, image is everything. And when one star shines brighter than the other, jealousy can eat away at even the strongest love. For years, Nicole has been a top-tier A-lister, an Oscar winner, an Emmy darling, and the rare actress still dominating in her 50s. From Moulin Rouge to Big Little Lies and now Practical Magic 2, she's proven she can reinvent herself endlessly. Meanwhile, Keith, though a huge name in country music, never hit that same global level. To fans, he's a legend. But to Hollywood, Nicole's name simply carries more weight, and that imbalance might have been the final crack in their picture-perfect facade. Insiders whisper that Keith Urban secretly battled with the imbalance in their fame, especially as Nicole Kidman's career reached new heights. Rumors say he hated being introduced as Nicole Kidman's husband instead of being seen as a star on his own. That bruised ego became hard to hide, especially when Nicole's name dominated award season while Keith's tour barely made a ripple outside country circles. But here's the twist. The jealousy wasn't just his. Friends of Nicole claim she was fed up with Keith's never-ending rock star lifestyle. The late nights, constant travel, and endless parties didn't match her polished image of class and control. While Nicole was collecting awards and chasing powerful roles, Keith looked like he was living the carefree bachelor dream, and it drove her crazy. Sources say Nicole started seeing Keith's tours not as work, but as an escape, a way to avoid home life and responsibility. Meanwhile, Keith allegedly felt overshadowed, ignored, and underappreciated, watching his wife steal the spotlight while he faded into the background. That's when the tension turned toxic. Friends say the couple's love story quietly morphed into a rivalry, two people competing instead of connecting. Nicole thought Keith wasn't stepping up as a partner or father, while Keith believed she didn't value him anymore. Their once balanced marriage became a tug-of-war between pride and resentment. And according to those close to them, neither was ready to give in. And here's the kicker. Hollywood insiders say that quiet competition between Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban spilled right onto the red carpet. Behind every smile and kiss, there were subtle power moves. Who spoke first? Whose project got mentioned? Who seemed more in control? To trained eyes, those public displays of affection weren't passion. They were strategy. When you strip away the glitz, their marriage starts to look less like a love story and more like a rivalry. Two stars locked in a silent battle for dominance. And while the world saw glamour and unity, their two daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, may have been the ones who suffered most from the chaos behind closed doors. Publicly, Nicole and Keith worked hard to protect their kids, keeping them out of tabloids and rarely discussing them in interviews. But insiders whisper that parenting clashes caused some of the deepest cracks in their relationship. Nicole, shaped by her Catholic upbringing, reportedly wanted a more structured, spiritually grounded home. She's even hinted in past interviews about raising her girls with discipline, faith, and stability. Keith, on the other hand, lived by rhythm and freedom, the bohemian musician spirit that never quite fit Nicole's picture of order. His touring lifestyle, late nights, and laid-back nature clashed with her need for control. Behind the cameras, those differences weren't just philosophical, they were explosive. Friends say their fights over parenting turned emotional and raw, revealing a marriage where even family values became a battlefield. The perfect couple image was cracking, and this time, the fractures were too deep to hide. Insiders say the real breaking point in Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's marriage wasn't fame or jealousy, it was geography. Nicole had always dreamed of returning to Australia, spending more time near her family and giving her daughters deeper roots in her homeland. But Keith, he was locked into Nashville, the heart of his music empire, and he wasn't budging. What started as a difference in lifestyle turned into a full-blown emotional standoff. Sources say Nicole grew furious over what she saw as Keith's refusal to put family before career. Meanwhile, Keith allegedly believed Nicole was trying to tear him away from the life and success he'd built in the US, just to fit her own image of balance and control. The tug-of-war stretched across continents and straight into their home life. Insiders reveal it began to feel like a quiet custody battle even before the divorce was official. Nicole reportedly pushed for longer stays in Australia, while Keith fought to keep the girls in the States for his work schedule and comfort zone. That constant back and forth created unbearable tension. Friends say the atmosphere at home became icy, and no amount of red carpet smiles could hide it from the kids. Their daughters, Sunday and Faith, ended up stuck in the middle of two worlds, watching their parents drift further apart with every plane ticket and every argument. And here's where it gets even murkier. The timing of it all left fans wondering if the split was planned long before the headlines broke. Just as Nicole Kidman was stepping back into the spotlight with Practical Magic 2, the divorce bombshell dropped and Hollywood went wild. Some gossip outlets claim Nicole planned it that way, using the media storm to boost attention for her big comeback. Others insist Keith finally snapped, tired of being the supportive husband, and chose now to take his power back. Either way, the timing has everyone talking. With the divorce now official, the question is, what's next? Insiders say Nicole's already eyeing new global projects across Europe, while Keith plans an extended tour to drown himself in the music. But here's the real twist. Some believe Nicole's using this breakup as a full-blown career rebirth, while Keith might turn his heartbreak into chart-topping country hits. Still, one mystery refuses to die. Did Keith finally tell his side to protect his name, or is there a darker truth Nicole's still hiding? The industry's watching every move, and the next chapter could change everything. What do you think? Did Nicole play this perfectly, or did Keith beat her to the punch? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading every single one. Don't just scroll, hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next Hollywood bombshell. Big stories are dropping soon, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.